Hey up folks.
Hello.
Hello. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're at a graveyard in Hoyland in Barnsley. This is St Peter's graveyard, just across the road from St Peter's Church. And yeah, thought we'd come and have a walk around here and have a bit of a discussion and talk about where we've been for the last few months, apart from the last couple of videos that have gone on recently. Oh, come on, let's have a walk around. I don't know too much about this graveyard, even though I used to go to school in this area.
There's a lot of gravestones that are laid down, and that's purposefully being done because they're unsafe. You'll see quite a few gravestones
Like this one.
around that are leaning. This one here, they're starting to lean because the ground's giving way, and rather than fix them and fix the foundations underneath the stone, they lay them down so nobody gets hurt.
Yeah, big mining area, so a lot of subsidence in this area. You know, even this one's...
That one's meant to be laid down, I think.
Yeah, but it's giving way though.
Yeah. Looks like there's a family plot here, and all three of them, they're nearly on the floor.
Let's go and have a look. Let's go and have an explore.
Is it 3 or 2?
2.
That's 2. I don't know whether we'll be able to see who they actually are, though. Oh, it's difficult. Well, you can't read that one at all, but it's difficult to read this one.
Yeah, that one's been there a while.
But you can see they're not going to be stood for much longer. Oh dear. Lucy Crackles died in 1888, aged 16 years. Now, 1888 is the year that Jack the Ripper was on the prowl. But that's a brand new...
A new one for us. They all broke off.
I'm not sure whether somebody's just taken it upon themselves to replace it, because clearly that's rotted at the ground. Or whether they've raised money for it or what, I don't know, but that's quite nice, that.
Yeah.
She might even still have family. That's quite a nice thing to do. Yeah, that wall's definitely knackered.
Certainly is. Like me.
And me, as we're going to discuss in a second. like at some point there's been some sort of tree growing there.
Yeah. It's like it. Probably railing. William Ellis was asleep in 1897.
Aged 2 years and 6 months. And his mum in there as well, Sarah Pink. It's an unusual name, isn't it?
Yeah.
Fell asleep in Jesus. What an odd turn of phrase. February the 8th, 1900, at 32 years old. So, I'm not sure whether that says 1892 or 1897, but basically within a short space of time, Herbert lost both his son and his wife.
Yeah.
It's really sad.
All was fallen over.
Oh, now this one definitely comes from money.
Absolutely.
We're not allowed to actually have things like this anymore in a lot of graveyards. Certainly not the railings and things. The laws don't allow it. But I would be shocked if that would be worth these days anything under sort of 50 grand.
Yeah.
Just for the monument itself. That's actually quite well established, to be fair. It's not leaning at all, is it?
Lee died in 1901 and 1914. You can just about make it out. Let's have a look.
That one actually is broken and laid down, isn't it?
Yeah.
See, that's rotted. I'm sure that that's the same as it is in most countries. You can see these rods. So these iron rods would have gone up through that stone, and obviously weather and decay has gotten under it, because we do have some harsh weather here in Yorkshire. And over years it's just weakened, and the weight of the stone itself will have probably snapped them. That breeze is getting up.
I hope it's Big Willie.
It actually is as well. You can see ground falling away from underneath that, so that'll go in time.
Not on top all sometime.
The only way that they'll be able to save that is by digging further under, and I would imagine pouring concrete.
Yeah. What else with some money?
And now would be the best time to do it before it starts going
Absolutely.
off on one. It looks like these have had railings as well, and they've been cut off. Don't think we're going to find any seating in here.
Yeah, I don't look like it.
Does it? I like graveyards. Graveyards are quiet, apart from wind.
Yep. Not that type of wind.
No.
You filthy animals. James Caldwell.
I think we might have strayed from the path.
Don't stray off the path.
Hoyland Cemetery has a Mr. England.
Absolutely, yeah.
That's a fairly recent one as well, 1956 that one, but that one looks like it's met its match with weather.
Yeah, that's definitely met its match.
Oh, cows. The cow field.
Here's some milk.
One up there. There's one up there being all alone. Well, it might not be. I can't see past this bush, but it's fallen out with the rest of it.
Yeah.
Either that or it's found a better patch of grass.
I'm not talking to you a lot anymore.
It's a bit whiffy. Look at them there hills of Yorkshire.
Yeah.
Just ignore the every warehouse inside, and the rest of it is beautiful. It's views like this that make you appreciate life.
Absolutely. I don't know if you'll be able to see it right in the distance.
Emily Moore.
Emily Moore mast.
That big stick thing sticking out at ground.
Yeah.
That there hill. Apparently you can actually climb that. They put steps, or they plan to put steps on outside because the inside ones are starting to go.
I don't know if my knees will take it.
Oh, well, I know I won't be able to do it. Not now. So, where have we been for the last 6, 7, 8 months?
Yeah.
Ish. Somewhere around that. Well, you already know that my dad's not very well. And his health has deteriorated quite a lot. So I've been a lot more busy in that respect as his full-time carer. But that's just normal. I've been caring for my dad since 2016. That's just normal everyday life for me. But last year, I tried to lose some weight because I need a hysterectomy. I need to get rid of the hysterical part of me and get rid,
Oh, she's very hysterical, boys and girls.
And knowing that, I wanted to lose some weight because obviously that makes it a lot easier. And I tried, and as you can see, failed. I went to the doctors last year and asked for some help to try and lose weight, and I actually asked for one of these injections, the Mounjaro, which is tirzepatide. My dad has been on that and he lost 6 stone. It worked wonders. And I also know other people on it, and they're all diabetic, as was I. Emphasis well, technically, yes, I still am diabetic, but there are now other complications. So my doctor refused to give me the Mounjaro, which is fair enough if that's their policy. Things have changed in that aspect now anyway, in terms of NHS handing these jabs out. But she recommended that I do something called a type 2 diabetes remission program, which basically is giving up food for 12 weeks. Yes, I'm not joking. It's basically what they call a soups and shakes diet, or a meal replacement diet. Fully NHS funded, which was brilliant. I did treat myself with the money I wasn't spending, but that comes later. I tortured myself for 12 weeks. I did really well, and I lost, I think it was 24 kilos. And
Yeah, you did well.
like fantastic, brilliant. I was looking brilliant. I was feeling even better. And just before Christmas, I think it was the 20th of December, I started reintroducing food, solid food, back into my system, which is done very slowly over a 6-week period. By Boxing Day, I started to feel really unwell and dizzy, sick.
Well, see, you're normally dizzy anyway.
Yeah, but not that kind of dizzy.
No.
Sorry, guys, if the wind is getting in the microphones. It's a big buzzing. In some cases, I appeared extremely drunk. Now, already mentioned that I had type 2 diabetes, or well, still do, but I was always diet controlled. I was never on any medication. So hypoglycemia for a diabetic is usually caused by too much medication or not eating. We were over the Christmas period. Not eating was definitely not the issue. And obviously I'm not on the medication. But when I took my blood sugars were in the high 3s, which you can figure it out for Americans, because I know you work on a different system.
Those damn Yankees.
You would somewhere kind of between 70 and 80 for Americans. I'm not sure what, but you can work it out, which is low for somebody that's not on any medication and been eating. I spoke to the people that obviously did the diet, and you know, because it was supervised, it wasn't, you know, there you go off and do what you want. It was regularly supervised every week, and they were quite stumped, as was
at least
my GP. My doctor was a little bit like, what on earth? What's going on?
what's occurring?
My GP did a lot of tests, as many tests as she could do blood-wise, and came up with no answers whatsoever, to a point where she just said, I'm fast-tracking you to endocrinology because I ain't got a clue. Now, you've just stumped me. I waited and waited and waited for a fast-track appointment, NHS boys and girls. I think it were about three months. I ended up phoning up and saying, look, I'm really struggling here. And
Labour, we're fixing the NHS.
They did give me an appointment there and then. But that, again, was still sort of 6 weeks away. They gave me some advice and said that if my bloods were to drop into the 2s, I must go to the hospital, straight to A&E. No ifs, no buts, no maybes. Just go. even if I managed to get my bloods back into a range that's healthy, go to the hospital. Of course, I didn't do that, did I? Because it's me. I look after everybody else and not myself. Yes, I know. The endocrinologist did more blood tests and ordered that I go into hospital for 4 days, 3 days of which I was not to eat anything at all. I could only drink water.
And I got starfish for 3 nights.
He did. He got the bed to himself for 3 nights. But just totally no food, only water. And that was to rule out anything really nasty. So when I say really nasty, we're talking tumours that are insulin producing. The reason that they wanted to test me for that is because when they tested my insulin levels at hospital, a normal person's insulin levels are 72 pmol per litre. Don't know what the P stands for. Whatever. The magic number is 72. Lisa's was 834. So basically my pancreas was producing 11 times more insulin than it needed. And if somebody had injected me with that amount of insulin, it would kill me instantly. Which was a comforting thought. But apparently because it was natural insulin, my body was dealing with it as it should do. It was struggling, but it was dealing with it. Now, obviously I regained all the weight. I'm at a point where I don't get on the scales. Mentally, I don't want to do that to myself.
And I just don't get on.
But the reason that I regained the weight, because I was diabetic and my dad's diabetic, and knowing how to deal with hypoglycemia, in general, you would normally have something with glucose or sugar to increase your blood glucose. You know, that's just a natural thought process. I was having to do that up to 9 times a day, however. So, exercise, I was dropping if I was walking anywhere. Like we went to Blackpool for the day just to have a mooch around and get away from things. Yep. And I had 9 hypos that day. Just walking around. And this was after eating as well, which is just wrong. Everything about it is wrong. This was before my diagnosis. And it wasn't the only time that happened. And, you know, I still get these hypos. The way that I was treating them for my condition turned out to be incorrect. So I gained this weight effectively for no reason. I shall explain. Sorry, this is droning on a little bit because it's quite a lot of months and a lot has happened.
What's up? Hey?
We're getting growled at by a pug. Little pug. So after I'd been in hospital, a diagnosis came in. It wasn't anything nasty in terms of the insulinomas or anything, you know, no tumours, no nothing that was, you know, too difficult to deal with. I was diagnosed with reactive hypoglycemia. The reactive part is important because I react badly to certain foods. I react to movement, which is one of the reasons why we weren't, you know, doing our little walks and things, because every time I went out to walk, my blood sugars would crash. It's very annoying.
Yeah.
What else? My mind's gone blank.
My dad was, back in of 2024, was diagnosed with bowel cancer.
Yeah.
They had an operation to remove that. Luckily, they managed to sort it with the operation. They've got a shot of everything, and luckily they managed to fuse it back together, and he's not had to have a stoma fitted, and
Which is great.
Which is good news. And
He's doing really
he's doing really well. He's
cancer free.
He's cancer free, yeah, and he keeps munching about. We keep taking him here and there. Keeps messing about on his 3D printer.
There was a while there where we thought that the cancer had spread to his lymph nodes, but apparently on his last blood test, unless he's just not telling us, which is always a...
Yeah.
But apparently his blood work was clear, so, we'll take that.
Okay.
But yeah, so how do I deal with reactive hypoglycemia? It's rare. It's not something that's a common condition. It was caused...
Well, you don't do common stuff, do you?
No.
You don't do normal things.
I'm special.
Yeah.
It was caused by the diet. It was caused by losing too much weight too quickly and completely confusing my pancreas. And the best part ever, is it's not a curable condition, but it is manageable. So how do we manage it? I basically have to eat every 2 hours or so, 2 to 3 hours. Now I'm not talking full meals. Don't panic when I say I have to eat that often. This is not why I'm gaining weight. Because the things I'm eating are things like a small portion of chicken. That's a meal. Nothing else. Just a small portion of chicken, or a small side plate that has seafood sticks on it. A few seafood sticks. So we're talking really, really small snacks. We're not talking, if I'm eating 8 times a day, I'm not eating full meals.
No.
It's, that it's just not, I can't do it. The diet itself reduced my stomach capacity. I still can't do it. The endocrinologist trialled me on some medication, which was working, until the pharmacist could no longer get hold of it. And then we went backwards again. So the little escapade that we had in Whitby recently was on the back of taking that medication, and whilst we were there, I only had, I think, 3 hypo attacks. Yeah, across the 2 to 3 days that we were there. We were there for 2 nights. We were there for 3 days. I only had 3 hypos, which was fabulous because we were walking around. We did adapt. We went on the bus, as you would have seen. So that got rid of quite a lot of the hill walking that you have to do in Whitby.
No, Craig Campbell wasn't driving it.
But most of the walking that we did was downhill. I did go up the hill once and had a hypo at the top.
Yep.
So that's just how it is.
And we can confirm we did go to the Abbey Brewery.
Yes, but I didn't drink anything other than lemonade, which is quite sad.
I did.
But obviously I have to be careful with what I'm drinking as well. It's not just food. So my diet is now mainly protein. And I just have to keep myself upright. I get very tired. Fatigue is ridiculous because I'm not getting any goodness from the food that I'm eating. It's going through my system too quickly. My pancreas is just breaking it down far too quick for everything else to get the goodness from it. So muscle fatigue is horrendous. I can't carry a shopping bag. Walking, I have to have regular breaks, obviously. And it's quite frankly, it's a pain in the ass. Stress is another one. If I get really upset or really stressed, my blood sugars tank, which is annoying because I live a very stressful life. Especially,
we're not straying your mother stresses you out, but she stresses you out.
My blood sugar starts dropping about 5 minutes away from my mother's house. That's that. I don't need to say any more than that. I don't think, but she's my mum and I love her, and I would never change her. But this is another reason why we needed the break in Whitby. Just to get away.
Yeah.
Just move far.
Yeah.
Away from certain situations.
Chill out for a couple of days.
Yeah.
Go and have a coffee with me.
From sort of October, November last year, it's been a difficult ride.
It's been hectic, hasn't it?
It has. Started with my dad's health going down the pan, and it worked great in the first place. Then your dad.
Yeah.
And then me just going off the rails with my, ridiculous diagnoses.
And me, I just plod along.
But
I wouldn't have been, but I plod along.
It's a shame I've not got my camera. Ooh, camera. It's a shame I've not got my camera because there's a kestrel over there diving and hunting. As I said, that diet was fully funded on the NHS, which means that all of my food for the 12 weeks was supplied. Now, when I say food, it's basically liquid, but each pack had 4 per day. Each pack had 200 calories in it, so that's 800 in total. But each pack had 25% of your daily nutrients required. So by the time you'd had 4 packs, that's 100% of your daily nutrients. So it was extremely healthy in that manner. It helps you lose the weight quick. And the idea behind it is it stabilises your blood sugars when you lose the weight and puts your diabetes into remission. That's what's supposed to happen in theory. My body
It's great theory.
just went, and that's just No, we're not playing that game today, Lisa. This is what we're going to do instead. Okay. However, I didn't waste the money. The NHS supplied that food for free. So for the whole 12 weeks, I was only buying food for Lee, because obviously Lee needs to eat. That cut my food bills down tremendously, and the money that I was saving, I didn't spend it frivolously. I could have done. Bills are more expensive, everything's up. I put that money away because it's still food money at the end of the day. It would still be going towards food when I started eating again. And after 10 weeks, I think it was 10 weeks, out of the 12, I managed to buy myself a beast of a camera.
It's a big one. That's what she said.
I bought myself, it was second hand, but I got it from a place that supplies you with a 5-year guarantee on all goods sold and fully refurbished. So I was happy with that. It's a Nikon Coolpix P1000. It's basically a bridge camera that has, it's a fixed lens camera, but I can take detailed shots of the moon with it, with that one lens. It is fabulous.
You could take
heavy.
photos of people at top of 199 steps in Whitby from Westcliff.
Yes. Yeah, in detail.
Yeah.
As if I was stood on the steps with them, which is tremendous. Go and there's a few shots on our Whitby. I think it's the first one, isn't it?
Yeah, on first one. There's a few.
There's
on,
part 1, part 2, and then there's the Dracula Experience, which was actually filmed on my phone, and I was quite impressed with that part in between mid screams and jumps. But the actual still photographs themselves were all taken on that camera, apart from the food ones. They were done on mobile phone. And the camera itself is just phenomenal. It really is. It's like... I knew you were going to do that. Yeah, so I got something out of it at least. That is probably the only good thing I got out of that diet. I'm now back to square one. I'm eating a lot of protein, as I've mentioned before, which technically means I should be losing weight, and I'm certainly under the calorie range for losing weight, but it's not happening. So something else in my endocrine system
something's occurring.
is happening to stop me from losing weight, and I'm not sure what it is. And I kind of need to do that because they have agreed to give me a hysterectomy. I am on the list as we speak. Now, I'm not expecting that to be a quick thing.
No.
At all. Because of my weight, it is the cancer surgeon, the gynecological cancer surgeon, that has agreed to do the surgery. But obviously, and I completely understand this and get it, and I am not angry about it at all. If someone goes in with a female cancer, that's got to be done first,
yeah.
You know. And I'm not, you know, if that was me, I would expect that, you know, someone else got pushed back in order for me to go in. If I had cancer, I don't, thank goodness. Hopefully, we'll never have. But you know, it's a totally different story that I've been trying to get a hysterectomy for 25 years because of issues. We don't need to go into that. You know, but had they have done this 25 years ago, when I asked for it, I wasn't overweight. The issues that I had and I've had throughout my life wouldn't have happened. Let's just say there's a lot of bitterness there in terms of it taking 25 years. It put us in a situation a few years back that we never expected, and you know, we struggled on occasion, still struggle with. And it wouldn't have happened had they've given me the hysterectomy. That's all I need to go into on that one, I think.
Yeah. Those that know.
Yeah. It's not that we don't, you know, we will absolutely talk about it. I just think it's not something for this video.
No.
Because this is where have we been for the last few months. And that's not really anything to do with it. Side portion, but not really anything, you know, to do with it. So I'm in a situation where I'm just trying to keep myself upright, you know, like everybody really, but mine's a little bit harder. We've had to adapt quite a lot of things until, you know, we find something that works. The medication that I was supplied was working until the pharmacist couldn't get hold of it, and then suddenly within 3 days I was back to having lots of hypos and struggling. And so obviously I need to see endocrinology to get that changed, because my GP can't change it because it was a specialist reason. That the drug that they've given me is sitagliptin on a really small dose, and sitagliptin is actually a diabetic drug, which is why I can't have a higher dose, and it's the smaller doses that they're having trouble getting hold of. But what it does is it evens out my blood sugars, and you know, whilst I still have to stick to a rigid diet, timings and everything, things were better. And now they're not again.
Yeah.
So something kind of needs updating, something needs changing. We need to find something that they can actually get hold of quite easily, because otherwise I can just see myself not being any good to anybody, quite frankly. And with the way the government are performing, I'm going to be left out on my arse.
Yeah, your Labour.
Yeah.
Right on, brothers.
That's enough about politics, because if I get into that rant, it'll be a different thing. So yeah, you know, my health isn't great. I am trying my best. We will do as many videos as we can on this channel, although it is, you know, an as and when channel rather than a regular channel. I think you all know that anyway, because just it's how our lifestyles work. You know, full-time job in Lee's case, and obviously he's got his first channel, which this is just kind of a recreational thing, and we take you along with us. You know, we will keep doing that as much as we possibly can, and hopefully if we can get me sorted, we'll be able to do it a little bit more.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. I'm not in. I've not got any enthusiasm for staying like this. I really want it sorted.
Absolutely.
You know, because it's got to be annoying for you as well, because, you know, I've got to be careful driving and things like that. Obviously, if my blood sugars drop, I can't drive. So I have to take Lee to do the mundane shopping shit and what have you, because he's the only other driver that I can grab. And my dad has to be...
I don't mind it when you grab me.
My dad has to be not left alone, so my mum can't go shopping with me when I do her shopping, so I'm either on my own with that. And the amount of times over the last few months that I have spent sitting in random car parks is just ridiculous. I've wasted more time in car parks waiting for my blood sugars to rectify than anything else. And it is just a case of waiting sometimes to see what my blood sugars will do. And this is where I've gone wrong. I've been having the glucose. And the glucose, what that does is it spikes my blood sugars. And this is where the reactive part of it gets really dodgy, because once my blood sugars peak to a high number, as high as it's going to go, it then drops really fast. So, for example, I can drop from, say, after a meal, I'll go up to, let's say, 10.2, which is not mega for after a meal. That's perfect. It seems perfectly reasonable. However, over the course of 4 hours, your blood sugars are supposed to sort of go steadily downwards to a normal level. Mine, however, will drop within 30 minutes to an hour into a hypo, so it'll go past the in-range level where I should stay, and it will just keep dropping. And that's where I feel obviously, the drop itself, I feel really ill. I can quite honestly say now, because I have one of these patchy things, the CG, what they call them, continuous glucose monitoring. And I have the number on my phone all the time where I'm at, 24/7. And I can say when my blood sugars are going to drop, because this is 10 minutes behind. I know when my blood sugars are dropping before that even picks up on it, just by the way I feel. So, you know, like I said, a lot of changes. Even Lee has had to temporarily change his night shift from not going into the office and staying at home, because if I get into trouble, with my blood sugars while I'm at home and I need to get to the hospital.
Oh,
the
trouble with your blood sugars.
Yes.
I'm saying you're getting in trouble on your road anyway.
The ambulances just aren't there to get me to hospital quick enough. And, you know, if I drop too far, I could pass out. I can't drag myself to the hospital. You know, so I kind of need a carer myself. I've been a carer for a long time. Like I said, I've been caring for my dad since 2016. And all of a sudden I'm in a stage where I need a carer.
Are you trusting me as your carer? You know.
Kind of have no choice in the matter because you're always there, so you just get the privilege. But also, if my blood sugars start dropping quick and I start to become confused, it's not always possible for me to get up and make something to eat or grab something to eat. So somebody needs to be there to do that for me. During the day, it's a lot easier to get hold of people. You know, I've got neighbours. I've got everybody's out and about at that time of day, but nights it's not possible. I suppose it is. I suppose I could go banging on somebody's door, but if I'm confused, I'm not going to be in a fit state to do that.
Would they notice any difference?
Probably not. They might notice me walking drunk, which is not something that I normally do because I very rarely drink.
Well, like when you got followed in Tesco's the other day.
Yes. Yeah, that's a story in itself. So I went shopping to Tesco's for my mum's stuff. And I was fine. My blood sugars were like 6.8 before I went in, and I was absolutely fine. And I started walking around Tesco's, and I started to get a little bit sort of out there. My headspace was like starting to.
Oh, you're definitely out there.
Go. It was weird, like my head was in space. Basically, is how I felt. My blood sugars were fine. I checked, and my blood sugars were fine. I think I dropped to about 5.4, but you know that's still in range.
Yeah.
And then I all of a sudden noticed people following me. Just like, you know, you get this feeling where there's someone watching you or what have you, and I noticed people following me. And they weren't doing it like mega obviously. They could have been checking shelves and things like that. They were definitely staff following me. So I carried on doing my shopping. At this point, I was, I think, too far gone to be checking things like numbers. And, you know, this is one of the dangers. And I suddenly felt really unwell. Now, for the last 8 months, I have carried glucose treatments in my bag. There are glucose treatments in my car. There are glucose treatments on the sofa next to me, in the bedroom, absolutely everywhere that I will be, there are glucose treatments.
I can confirm this.
Did I think to get one of those glucose treatments? Absolutely not. Wasn't in the forefront because I'd become so confused. I didn't know what I was doing. The thought was, right, I need to get to the till, pay for the stuff, not just leave what I've got and go, just get to the till, because I don't know. I don't know. So I managed to get everything and got to the till, pushed everything through, paid the lady, packed everything up and started to walk out. At this point, the staff were still following me. So they can't have thought that I'd been stealing because they would have approached me. But then when they got to the door, the security guy clocked me and he also started to follow me. And I'm like feeling really, really like, what the hell is going on here? It was only when I got back to the car that I realised that I was walking like I'd had 16 pints of the good stuff. So I was snaking. How long I've been doing that for, I don't know. But you would have kind of thought that somebody would have approached me and said, are you feeling okay? Because I was clearly not okay. And it's quite, somebody did say to me, if you'd have approached them and said, I need help, they would have absolutely got, their first aider and helped me out. But my thought process wasn't there to do that. It's not that I wouldn't do that. If I was in my right mind, I would have absolutely done that. They watched me get into the car. This is the really strange part. If they thought I was drunk, they watched me put the stuff into the car boot and sit in the car, because my only thought was I need to sit in the car and deal with this. The intention wasn't to drive anywhere, because by that point I was realising there was something wrong. And when I checked my blood sugars, I was at 2.4.
Oops.
Yeah. Which is hospital levels. However, I couldn't drive myself to the hospital. I had to try and increase my blood sugars. So I sat there and ate a flapjack.
Oh, Jack.
I know. It's very tasty though.
Oh,
And I had some orange juice. So I tried to stick to, rather than having glucose treatments as such, because I do have glucose treatments. I have the glucogels, which are 40% glucose, and I have glucose shots, which are 25% glucose. But what happens with those is, yes, they give me the increase that I need in an emergency, but then my blood sugars just tank within half an hour again. So I'm back to square one. I'm better doing it with food if I can. It sustains longer. Not necessarily as long as what it should do, but it sustains longer. So yeah, I was in a bit of a pickle, and people were following me, and not one person said, "Are you okay?"
Yeah, love.
Which is quite startling, really. I get that maybe if they thought I was drunk, but that they might not want to approach me. But I wasn't being aggressive or nasty. I weren't actually talking to anybody. I was just doing what I would normally do, which is the shopping.
Yeah.
How the hell I managed to get that? And I didn't even miss anything off the list.
I know, you did well.
In that state, I'm like expecting that when I got to my mum's, I'll have missed a load of stuff. And I hadn't. I got everything. I don't remember getting everything, but I didn't get everything. I just remember these people following me. Why are these strange people following me? And then when the security guard decided to follow me as well and watch me get in the car, I was actually waiting for the police to pull up next to my car and ask me for a breathalyzer test.
Huh?
Which also never happened, so they clearly didn't call the police either. I don't know. I'm just...
Yeah.
So this is why I need to take someone with me that can drive the car, because if that ever happens again, which I'm sure it will do at some point, it's like I said, incurable but manageable. That person can take over driving, which you've had to do a couple of times, haven't you?
Yeah.
And B, that person can drive me straight to hospital. Where I would be given supervision and a lot stronger glucose treatment. So like I said, the glucogels are 40%, the hospital ones are 80%, as far as I understand. So they're like double the strength of the glucogels that I've got. And they can also, if I do lose consciousness, they can inject me, which I don't have access to the injections. Which is fair enough, I suppose, But so that's pretty much where we're at.
Yeah.
It's been a long one. Sorry for all the rambling, but there's been a lot happen in terms just my health, never mind other people's health in the family. But I'm trying to navigate this the best that I can. Lee's obviously along with me for the ride, and we he kind of works with me, and we just do his best, which is all anybody can do. We're not professionals at this. There's not a whole lot of information out about it because it's not a mainstream illness. No. I'd never heard of it. I've got a friend that was a nurse, and he'd never heard of it. So this is not something that's normal. When I take my dad to hospital, my blood sugars start dropping. They're bringing me biscuits and sweet tea, and and I'm like, I can't have. There's certain things that I can't have that have got a lot of sugar in them. I've got to be very mindful of what I'm eating because too much glucose will just make the situation worse.
Yep.
So the best way to do it, as it's been explained, is for me to sit there for 10 minutes and see what my body does, which is scary. Quite a lot of the time, my body will actually take me out of the hypo on its own. It will deal with it. It's just there's a few occasions when it doesn't, and they're the ones that I have to treat. Like the one around Tesco's, I'm kind of figuring that was a mixture of maybe not eating fast enough, or as on schedule because it was out and busy.
Yeah.
It happens. And then walking around a Tesco superstore, which is, I ended up doing like 90 million miles more than what I actually should have done because they've changed the whole outlay of the store itself, so nothing is where it should be. And I'm not just talking that they've moved the bread to a different aisle. I mean they have changed where the shelving is and the fridges. They've moved everything around, so it's now really confusing. And if you're in that state, it's even more confusing. Yeah, that's it's nothing's ever convenient, is it?
No.
So I think it's going to rain because the cows are laid down.
Anyway, yeah, I think we'll leave it there.
Yeah.
Oh, I think we've rambled on long enough now.
Well, I certainly have.
Yeah. So yeah, there's a bit of a talk about where we've been and what's been happening with us both. Bit of a walk around the graveyard, and catch you in the next one.
See you later.
Ta-da.